Hey guys, Jared here, and today I'm going to review the first Megamind movie. So, the reason I'm reviewing this obviously is because they've just released on the streaming service Peacock a sequel of sorts called Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate, which is also like a pilot to a new Megamind TV series. Um, Now, I don't have the streaming service Peacock, and I don't really have any interest in watching that sequel. Um, yeah, it just doesn't look that good, and yeah, the opinions I've heard from it from other people, yeah, apparently it really is god awful. But yeah, this first one, I rewatched it recently. It was on the channel Film 4, and yeah, I really do love this movie. This is has always been one of my favorite DreamWorks movies. So yes, the plot of this movie is you have Megamind, who's this supervillain. He's an alien from another planet. It explodes like Superman's planet, and he's a blue alien with a big head. And his rival is a superhero called Metro Man, who's also from another planet, but he looks just like a human. And he's the hero, of course. And Megamind ends up like killing him. But after that, you know, it's like he didn't expect to kill him, so he doesn't really know what to do now. I mean, his whole life is fighting against Metro Man. He feels like he has no purpose now with no hero to fight. So because he has some of Metro Man's DNA, he uses that to create a new superhero, and he wants to give the powers to somebody, but he accidentally ends up giving them to Hal Stewart, who's voiced by Jonah Hill. Uh, yeah, and their name Hal Stewart is referencing both Hal Jordan and John Stewart, both Green Lanterns, which is a really nice reference. I do like that. And yeah, he ends up just not being superhero material, and the only reason he wanted to be a hero is because he wants to be with Roxanne Ritchie, the reporter who Megamind often kidnapped. And then she rejects him, so he turns evil, and then Megamind has to stop him. And Megamind kind of becomes good in the process, and he teams up with Roxanne Ritchie, and he did also make a bond with her when he was pretending to be this guy Bernard. Yeah, and Megamind also does have a minion called Minion. Yeah, a lot like Despicable Me. I'll come back to that comparison later, but yeah, a minion who's actually called Minion, who's voiced by David Cross. And I guess this is the second time he's been in a DreamWorks movie because he also did Crane in Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, that's a great role. It's a great role in this. All the voice talents are great in this film. And yeah, that's one reason I think the sequel I'm not as interested in. I understand the sequel is like really cheaply made, but they didn't bring back any of the original cast members in that sequel. The cast in this, Will Ferrell as Megamind, you have Tina Fey as Roxanne, Jonah Hill as Titan or Hal, David Cross, yeah. The cast in this movie, they all fit their roles perfectly and they're all great. Um, and the whole idea, as I said, of the super villain feeling like he has no purpose because the hero that he fights died, that's a very interesting idea and it's done very well in this. And I think Titan Hal, he's a very good villain. He kind of reminds me a lot of Syndrome from The Incredibles. I mean, they're both ginger and they both became villains because they were rejected, and they're both kind of pathetic, but also can be quite intimidating. And I think both of them are very good villains. So yeah, that is a compliment. Me comparing it to Syndrome, and I think the humor in this is great as well. I do think Hal Titan is one of the funniest characters in this movie. Especially one line I always find funny is when Megamind breaks a hole like in his house and then comes in and Titan says, "Oh hey Megamind, you're just the guy I wanted to see. Also, there's a door here." Yeah, I always remember that as a funny line in the film. Also, you do have a running gag of Megamind calling the city, which is called Metro City, but he always calls it Metrocity. Yeah, I always love that gag. And yeah, gags like the Forget Me Stick, which they use when they knock out Hal. Yeah, yeah, the comedy in this is very good. I think the soundtrack in this is fantastic as well. I mean, you do have two AC/DC songs. One, you have Highway to Hell, and they cut it off before it says the word hell, which is kind of funny. Yeah, and they also play Back in Black later. You do also have Ozzy Osbourne, Crazy Train, Michael Jackson, Bad, towards the end. And then you also do have like ELO, Mr. Blue Sky. Yeah, very good soundtrack in this film. And yeah, it's funny, like we've just gotten a new Megamind movie, and there's also a new Despicable Me movie coming out this year, which the villain in that is going to be voiced by Will Ferrell, which is funny because he's the voice of Megamind. And yeah, Megamind and the first Despicable Me came out the same year, and those two films people often compare to each other and say they were kind of in competition, with them both being animated movies about villains who turn good. And I can enjoy the first Despicable Me, but I say out of the two, Megamind is the one that I prefer. I mean, Despicable Me has become the bigger franchise, even though we've just got a new Megamind sequel. Generally, Despicable Me has been the bigger franchise and it's been more successful. But I honestly have always thought Megamind is the better of the two films, and it's just one of my favourite DreamWorks movies, honestly. And I like how towards the end, Megamind finds out, he doesn't have to be evil. He's always thought his whole life that he has to be the bad guy because he was raised in prison, and Metro Man was always treated as the good guy. But at the end, he realizes he doesn't have to be. And it turns out that Metro Man doesn't really want to be a hero, actually. So I think Megamind is the much better hero than he is. And Metro Man is voiced by Brad Pitt, and he does a really good job as well. And I do also like the friendship that Megamind has with Minion, and they have a falling out, but I like how they become friends again later on. And also, he does gain a very good relationship with Roxanne, throughout the movie. Partly it's through him pretending to be Bernard, or Bernard, we'd say over here. But then later when she finds out that he's really Megamind, like, she doesn't trust him anymore. But then they do team up again to fight Hal, and then they become great friends by the end. I guess this movie is also a bit like Shrek in how it's about somebody who you wouldn't normally expect to be the hero, being the hero of this story. And I've said that it's recently got a sequel, Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate, and it's going to have a TV series, and they don't look like they'll be good follow-ups to the movie. But if you want to see a good follow-up to this movie, go watch a short film that they did called Megamind and the Button of Doom. That is actually pretty good. That is actually a good follow-up to this movie. But yeah, overall, guys, this movie really still holds up. This is still a great DreamWorks movie, one of my favourites. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching my video, and bye.